What's up everybody, it's Robin Gaming here. So yesterday I read a pretty interesting article. I found it, sort of like funny to read by Polygon, where they were talking about inclusiveness for video games. And so this could be somewhat of a controversial topic because inclusiveness, it doesn't just apply to video games. It kind of applies to many real life situations nowadays too. And I'm not a big supporter of it personally, and so that's what I kind of want to get into. They were talking about Cuphead in this specific example, and Cuphead is a brutally difficult game, and everybody can accept and agree with that, right? I've personally been really enjoying it. I beat it over the last week, basically. But yes, certain bosses in that game took me millions probably of attempts to finally get past it all. And to me, that was part of the fun. Like, I really got a high level of satisfaction, out of putting so much time and effort into these bosses and then finally managing to beat them and stuff. But of course, a big drawing of the game was the art style, right? And it was the fact that some people will look at that game and they're gonna be like, damn, I really want to see all the beautiful levels that these people designed, or the awesome boss encounters and stuff, right? But simply the fact that they're not good at video games is gonna make them unable to to actually like manage to beat the game and see it all the way through until the end. So that's what that article was about, is should the developers have been more inclusive towards these type of gamers by by simply adding an easier difficulty level and stuff, right? And so this is kind of where I want to get into my whole stance on this discussion about inclusiveness in general. I don't agree with it in the slightest. I don't think the developers of Cuphead in any way, should have felt the need to cater to more types of people by adding an easier difficulty mode. It's really very simple. At the end of the day, there is freedom of choice for these developers. They are making a video game, and they're making the video game that they want to make. So at the end of the day, they get the choice to make the game brutally hard if they feel like that. Of course, they could have made that choice. They could have added an easier difficulty mode, and that way, hell, they probably might have had more sales, because yes, some people will be turned off by the fact that the game is so hard, right? So they had that choice to make, but it's their own choice. And if they feel like they don't want to make that choice, then, you're just kind of like supposed to accept that. We as the gamers get a very simple way to either agree or disagree with the choices made for a certain game, and that all comes down to, are you gonna spend in this case $20, normally for a AAA game maybe $60, will you spend that money on the game based on what you've heard about it? And they've been very clear, Cuphead is a challenging game. It's not gonna be for everyone, and you should not in any way feel owed that when you spend money on that game, that you will be able to see it through all the way to the end, unless you put the time and effort into it, right? So once again, it's really that simple. They are the developers, they make the game they want to make, so they get the choice for the game to be either very hard or to add that easier difficulty mode for other people if they wanted that. But clearly they didn't, right? And it's just this argument against inclusiveness, is it just seems to be this never-ending loop where you're gonna try to cater to more and more people, and it just doesn't work. Like, it's not gonna happen. I mean, what's gonna be next? Are we gonna start complaining at Naughty Dog for not adding a first-person mode to their story-driven games because, oh, some people might simply enjoy playing games more in first person, so, maybe The Last of Us Part 2 should have a first person mode as well to cater to those kinds of people, because otherwise, yeah, they're gonna be complaining about it. No, that's their own choice. What's next after that? Am I gonna start having to complain about a certain fantasy game, which a fantasy setting is something I really enjoy? Am I gonna have to start complaining about the fact that, it's an RPG game, which I don't really like, instead of a first person game? It just doesn't work like that. And like I said, it sort of applies to many real life situations nowadays too, where people feel more and more, it seems like that at least, that there's a need to be inclusive towards other people, and I don't understand that. When I go to visit my own girlfriend in Lithuania, right, I adapt to those people. I adapt to the fact that, I know, of course, that they speak a different language. So if I want to be able to communicate with these people, I learn that language. And if I don't decide to do that, then that's fine, but I have to accept the fact that I'm not going to be able to communicate with them. And that counts for, that very much counts the same way for immigrants coming into your own country. They're going to have to adapt to you, right? It's not the other way around. That just doesn't really make sense. Man, I mean, we can go really left in this and talk about, political issues and stuff, but the whole gender neutral discussion nowadays, where to me everybody is free to make their own choices the way they want to make them, right? Like if people feel like that they don't see themselves anymore as either a male or a female, and they want to be a completely different, you know, gender and stuff, go ahead. That's fine with me, and I won't look at you any different. But you can't expect all of a sudden that there's going to be like gender neutral toilets everywhere, because at the end of the day, you're going to be in a vast minority against a huge majority. So why should the majority be adapting to the minorities? It just, once again, it doesn't work like that. And the same thing counts for video games. These people, these developers are completely free to make the game brutally difficult if that's what they want the video game to be, and that's, you know, completely fine. It's sort of like even another argument. I don't know if the article came up with this, or I've heard other people talk about it in the comments. And I kind of find that a scummy argument, because it really, like, it kind of forces people to have to feel like they have to, you know, kind of like agree with the whole fact that it should be more inclusive, because otherwise they're going to be looked at as a dirtbag or something, which is the fact that you're going to have certain people have like maybe a motor neuron disease or something, you know, they are handicapped in some type of way, which is going to make them unable to beat the game that way. So it should have had an easier difficulty mode to, you know, to make those people still able to play it. But even there, it's like, yes, that sucks, and I can completely put myself in that situation. You know, maybe I would have been like a handicapped gamer that would have loved to play Cuphead, but I can't now because it is so difficult. But once again, you're gonna have to kind of accept that. It just is the way it is. And so you can even take that example a step further. Should every game start adapting to blind gamers? I'm sure there's going to be plenty of blind gamers that will want to play all these video games, but they can't because of their handicap. Are we going to have to, as game developers at least, are they going to have to start adapting to those types of people too? No, you just can't. Like I said, it's a never-ending loop where you're going to have to start adapting to more and more people, and it's just impossible. It doesn't work like that. So that's ultimately the way I feel about this game. Cuphead, it is difficult, but that's completely fine. That's what the developers wanted. The developers gave you that choice, and there's always going to be plenty of other alternatives that if you don't like the challenge, if you're not up to play a game like this, there's going to be plenty of other games you can still choose out of to play that will be more catering towards your wishes and your needs for a video game, right? So that's the way I feel about this topic. Anyway, like I said, it's kind of controversial. I get it, but yeah, this is the way I feel about it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd really like to have a discussion with you all about it, and try to, of course, keep it nice and friendly. And then for now, I'd like to thank you a lot for watching, and I hope to see you again next time.